MMA with your host, Tommy D and el Profesor Omar. Special thank you to our sponsors, ABK Fightwear, Black Hole Jiu-Jitsu, Madama Jiu-Jitsu, and of course, Fightbook MMA.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are here on a very, very special night. Usually we're here on Mondays, but we wanted to accommodate our guest and one of our favorite fighters, Chris the Crippler Leben. Chris, thank you so much for joining us here today on your only day off. How you doing, brother?
Oh, man, I'm doing good. Thanks. Yeah, sorry for messing up your schedule, guys, but I appreciate you making the time for me. Thank you.
Oh, no, we don't mind, man. We don't mind at all. The weekends are kind of a little bit easier considering that, we have day jobs. We haven't been able to make it big yet to where we can just do this full time. So
yeah,
just to be able to accommodate you is perfect enough. So you are on with me. I am your host, the Reverend Tommy D. We've been speaking a lot. You're also on with El Profesor, Omar Sangarima, and our great producer, Rudy Lara. So Chris, congratulations on the big win and doing the Lord's work on taking out Mr. Phil Baroni. I am not a Phil Baroni fan. I never have been. We wanted to talk to you about, first thing, I remember you were on Chael Sonnen's show. Had to be like 2 years ago, and you were happy being retired. You were going to do the real estate thing. So what is it that got you to come back into combat sports?
Well, I wasn't healthy. I couldn't fight. You know what I mean? Like, I couldn't pass my medical. So, you make do with what you got to do, So, obviously on the show, I was as happy as I could be with, you know what I mean? But no, I got a clean bill of health now, and so I get a chance to do what I love. I mean, I'm in the gym training every day. I'm coaching guys every day, so it's kind of a no-brainer for me, as long as my body's working well,
Well, you could definitely tell you were training just from your appearances on the Kingdom show, which I wish they had more of you on there, and I wish the show was still on. They definitely cut that way too soon, but you could definitely tell you've been training.
You're saying the difference. Okay.
Yeah.
You're saying compared to how bad you looked on the Kingdom show. Great.
No, you look great on the Kingdom show. You could tell you were still training. That's what I was saying.
The Kingdom show was how many years ago?
2 years
what are you
ago?
trying to say?
Was that 2 years ago?
Yeah.
I mean, I got into that show kind of late. I got into that show right after the second season.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
No,
I must have heard you wrong because it sounded like you said you could tell you were training compared to when you were on the Kingdom show.
No,
that's not what you said. I must have heard
no,
you wrong.
Absolutely not.
Okay, then I heard you wrong.
No, man, I would never insult. Are you kidding me? You're one of my favorite fighters. I would never insult you.
I don't know. I think that's
no, man.
Going with
Look,
that.
and here it is, a salty crew hat. See, salty.
Yeah.
So, all right. So, how are you approached by World Bare Knuckle Fighting Federation to come back?
Well, initially I was approached by the other guys, the other bare knuckle dudes, and they kind of promised me one thing, and they were kind of trying to lowball me. We finally came to an agreement, and they said, okay, we'll shoot you out your contract. A week went by, 2 weeks went by. I called him. The guy says, I'm going to send it today, I promise. So he sends me my contract. My phone dings. I got the contract to sign. And Joe Daddy Stevenson calls me, says, don't sign that contract. I want you to talk to this guy. His name's Paul Taylor.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah. So Paul calls me and says, now, I was working for the other show. I was this dude's best man at his wedding. So he's going to be mad at me, but, hey, we'll pay you more money, So, and I mean, hey, where I'm at, I got to take the money when it's there. You know what I'm saying? They were late sending the contract, it is what it is, man. So, I said, all right. And then the one thing Paul did do very quickly was get me a contract. So he got me a contract over immediately, a little bit more money, and went ahead and signed for the WBKFF. That was how my relations with them started.
Yeah, you mentioned the devil's name, and that's pretty much what I equate him as. And the one thing that we do with this show, because we had a fighter on, Matt Delanoy, who was fighting for was going to fight for an organization up in Canada. I don't even remember what the organization's name was, but they tried to fuck him over at the weigh-in. They knew that their star was coming in well overweight, and they were trying to restructure his contract crappy. It was just a crappy deal that he had going on over there. So the one thing that we like to do with this show is have you guys on there to talk about these scumbag promoters or a matchmaker like Paul was trying to make himself out to be, who was making all these promises, wasn't fulfilling on anything, wasn't keeping communication right. So these young fighters can hear these stories from a guy like you who's, I mean, dude, you've been around the block.
Well, generally speaking, to be a promoter, there's two qualifications. Be shady, talk fast. I mean, if I could talk to anybody young in the sport, I would just let them know, hey, right off the bat, generally speaking, I'm not saying 100%, I'm saying 98%. Be shady, talk fast. At least that's been my experience. There's a few good ones out there, a few honest guys. But yeah, Paul Taylor was no exception to that rule.
Well, dude, this guy, there's something mentally wrong with this guy. He has conversations with himself on Facebook with fake characters that he makes up.
Oh man, I trust me. If I wanted to, I could really. There's no shortage of stuff I can tell you about that guy. None at all. Yeah, so it was interesting dealing with him. It was kind of a relief to when eventually they got rid of, he went out, and then Boss Rutan and Burt Watson came in. Two of my favorite people in the world to work with.
Right.
So that just
Did we lose you, Chris?
I think we lost connection with our boy there.
Hopefully we get him to come back. Yeah, that Paul Tyler guy, man, Rudy could work to get him back on here. Yeah, that Omar, that's the guy that kind of that put us on the line, making us think that we aided in Tyler King not getting his contract with
bullshit.
WBKFF.
Complete bullshit. But what are you gonna do, man? I mean, he is right. If we get him back on, I do want to ask him if there's any promoters, or that he wants to work with. I always wondered, seeing if we can maybe, get Coker to reach out.
Think, as long as they keep offering, I think they're going to offer him another fight there. There's no reason.
I hope so. Why the hell wouldn't you have Chris Lieben come back on? I mean, he's a consummate professional. Dude's a badass. OG in the game. Brings name recognition.
Hey, I got
on
something.
Top of one.
You hear me?
Yeah, there we go. All right,
dude,
there we go.
My alarm went off, and then it just muted everything on my phone. So.
Oh Christ. So
low tech over here, guys. I'm sorry.
That's okay, man. So what? Before we were cut off. What were you saying now?
I was just telling you that when it comes to that Paul Taylor, there's no shortage of things I could say about that guy. Recently I did an interview, and it was brought to my attention that he had posted something or said something along the lines of Baroni threw the fight with me. And, I broke my knuckle on his head, so, and two, the thing is, are you guys there?
Yeah. Oh yeah, we're here.
Okay.
We're here.
Good. Sorry, my phone just went. I was always fucking cordial with that guy. I knew there was a lot of shit going on because, you know, when he sent me half my upfront money and then the other half never came, like the story you heard in Boss with everybody else, he did the same thing to
Mhm.
me. You know, but he made up, you know, he told me he gave the money to Frank Mir, who wasn't even on the fucking card. You know, he told me he gave it to some fighter that lives in LA and he's going to drive it down to me. The kid missed making it to the bank 6 times for the wire transfer. You know, I mean, ultimately, it was like 6 weeks, 2 months late that the money came. You know, apparently the owner gave him the money, and then he was late getting me half, and then he was really late getting me the other half. You know, and there was weeks on end at that point when he just wouldn't answer his phone. He just didn't answer for, you know, two
Well, didn't he?
weeks when he owed
Didn't
me
he
money.
sell? Didn't he sell his phone? They were saying for drugs.
Well, from what I mean, the only thing I know is what was in Boston's press report, which was, you know, I knew the phone. You know, he said he lost his phone, or he's what he told me. But then other people, he said they broke his phone, and it took him 2 weeks to get a phone fixed. Like, bro, my phone breaks. I go down the street, I pay the $69. You know what I mean? Like, if your job is talking to people on the phone, fix your fucking phone. You know what I mean? Like.
Well, especially since it's a company phone, so I'm pretty sure the owner of the company would have no problem replacing it. I mean, that's kind of his job.
It's got to be less than your monthly salary to fix the fucking phone. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like,
I would think so too. Yeah, you see, well, you know who Tyler King is, right? You've heard of
I
Tyler.
know of him. Yeah.
Well, first of all, he wanted me to let you know you are his idol. He is a
Oh,
huge, huge fan of yours.
well, thank you.
Um, but he's a very, very good friend of our show. We sponsored him when he went over to Ryzen and he fought Amir Akbari. This
Hmm.
was we only had maybe a couple months into the show, so he's been a real close friend of ours, and he comes on the show a lot. Well, Paul Tyler was signing him to fight Sean Merriman. That was supposed to be the fight because they were teammates in the NFL. They don't like each other, and what Paul kept telling Tyler was, yeah, well, he's not signing the contract, but we're going to get it done. So this is going on months on end. Now, as you just said, you're waiting for, these contracts. You guys fight for a living. Well, Tyler's not going to go and sign a contract somewhere else when he's got supposedly a big money contract coming from this guy.
Right. He's got him on the hook. I mean, and when I signed initially with Paul, I mean, you know, he promised to get another one of my fighters on the card, you know, and when I kept saying, hey, where's this other guy? Who's he fighting? Who's he fighting? He kept saying, well, look, I haven't booked him an opponent because I think I'm going to be able to match him up with Merriman. That's what I think is going to happen when, you know, and, you know, come to find out it was fucking all bullshit, you know. And here we are. We were like 2 weeks out from the fight and he was still going, oh, I think I'm going to make, you know what I mean? Like just blowing smoke, man.
Yeah, well, it got worse because it was like Tyler was like, "I really want to come on your show," and he goes, "And I want to call this guy out on the air." I'm like, "Well, shit, man. We don't care. So come on the show." Well, what we didn't know, we didn't think he was actually going to do it. He called Sean Merriman on our show. He gave us Sean's number. We didn't think he was going to pick up. Well, Merriman picked up the phone, and Tyler was like, "Yo, what's up, man? Why don't you want to fight me?" And of course, he hung up the phone. Well, according to Paul Tyler, Sean Merriman was going to press charges on this, and they said, Paul Tyler will never be part of Bare Knuckle Boxing Federation. So we felt like we were responsible in not getting our buddy a job. So I mean, we felt fucking awful. Well, it turns out Paul Tyler went to the owner and told him that Tyler had all these charges on him, and we don't want that for the organization. It was all lies. It was all lies.
Yeah, man. I mean, yeah, it's pretty amazing he made it as far as he did with the shit he was saying, like that nobody just called bullshit on him earlier. You know, it's too bad because I know that the WBKFF and all the good people there had to put up with a lot of bullshit and trudge through a lot of unnecessary adversity. You know, I would, I mean, if it would have been me, I would have been like, wait, you did what? Your phone, you didn't fix, dude. You know what? You're gone. You know what I mean? Like, if you worked the front desk at my fucking gym and you acted like that, you'd be gone. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Much less if if you're supposed to be fucking putting together, a giant pay-per-view fucking bare knuckle boxing card. You should probably be a professional.
Well, yeah, like the word was like he had like 20 something fights lined up for that card, even though you can't have that many fights. So all these guys are getting promised, yeah, you're going to be on the card somewhere. You're going to be on the card somewhere. Like that's wrong because these guys can't sign anywhere else to fight to make money. It's just, I don't know. That's what I mean. Like these are these scumbag kind of people that work with these promotions that these younger guys need to stay away from. The problem is it's not put out public enough. And I love the fact that Bas Rutten did what he did. I wish he would have named names more, but I know he doesn't want to be the final nail in the coffin because that's Bas Rutten. He's the badass with a heart. I mean,
he really is. He really is, and Boss is very open, and yeah, I mean, he put up with a lot more than he should have as well from Paul before letting him go initially. Before he said anything, when Paul was still working there, they should have just fucking pulled the plug and let that shit run down the drain. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, it was just a bad look, and then you have these hack ass media writers who were out there saying that it was the card that was set up and destined to fail. Like that makes absolutely no sense. It wasn't destined to fail. If anybody's banking on an ex-NFL player who got busted for steroids on saving a card, then you have no idea what the hell you're talking about. The guys who were meant to drive that card forward was you, Phil Baroni. What's his name? The dude that just left the UFC. Help me out here, Rudy. He's from your state.
Big Rig?
Yeah.
Who you talking about?
Yeah, Johnny Hendricks.
Yeah, Johnny Hendricks. That's what was driving this card. Names, not NFL player. Like that's what pisses me off. And that's what scares me with how mixed martial arts and the combat sports is going to right now.
I'm trying to watch what I say here, but the entire time and all the hype around Sean Merriman, for me, was like, look, this isn't a fucking football pay-per-view. This is a fucking combat sports pay-per-view.
Good point.
The people, bare knuckle boxing is new. The people that are already amped about it and want to see it are people that are already into combat sports.
Mm-hmm.
They want to see combat sports stars, not fucking baseball players and basketball players. As popular as they probably are in a whole different fucking arm of sporting, they're huge. Sure. Not a combat sports star. You know what I mean?
That's what Japan's for.
The fight I want to see when I tune in.
Let them go to Japan. When they had Jose Canseco and Dream or Pride. Send them out there. But that's what they do out there. And I've said this on our show before, like with CM Punk. These guys.
You don't want to be the spectacle either.
No.
I think that's important too. Especially I think that's one nice thing about Boss bringing with coming to the show is you need to with a new sport like bare knuckle boxing that one I think is the most exciting thing there is right now.
Absolutely.
I mean I think it's fucking fantastic. An American's gonna love it. But that being said, it's gonna have some roadblocks. There's gonna be a lot of people that are gonna say a lot of things and go whoa, tap the brakes. This is way too dangerous. It's way too bloody. So already you're gonna be having to overcome hurdles. Mm-hmm. Now, don't make it a spectacle too. You know what I mean? Have professionals in that field in there doing that.
Yeah, I'm not one of the proponents for, like I was saying, like CM Punk when he came into the UFC and stuff like that. I don't agree with that because for a bunch of reasons. Number one, that guy made more money than most of the people that were on that card. To me, that spits in the face of guys like you who are the OGs of this game, where you're on the Ultimate Fighter 1 back when the sport wasn't really that popular yet. You guys didn't know what it was going to do for the sport. You guys are fighting in the Hard Rock, for Christ's sakes. Like fighting with guitars behind you. Now you guys are filling out arenas. Like, to me, that spits in the face of guys like you, especially with that card. Like, this guy was expected to get all this money because he was a football player. That's it. Like, get the hell out of here. You didn't cut your teeth on shit.
Sometimes, different organizations, they always, everybody wants to try the spectacle event, and ultimately, it's because they get hungry. They know that, in some cases, those fights, CM Punk, they sell pay-per-views, I mean, the thing is, in this case, I wonder, does the NFL football player that's never been in a fight in his life, does he really sell that many pay-per-views?
I
How
wouldn't
well
think
was this
so.
thought out? That's my thinking. Like, look, if you do something and it makes you a ton of money and you're able to have another show because of it, great. But if you do something, you're going to have to deal with a bunch of flack because of it, and you're not profitable as well. Well, I mean, what are we doing?
Well, perfect example is just where you were last Saturday night reffing for the Chuck Liddell Tito Ortiz fight. They said it only did about 25 to 50,000 pay-per-view buys.
Is that it?
Yeah.
Wow.
That's all it did. But now, in your honest opinion, because I mean, look, you dealt with Chuck. That was horrible to do to that poor man, don't you think?
Well, I love Chuck Liddell.
Yeah, I
think
love
this is the
too.
first thing
That's why
everybody says.
Killed me. This killed me. That killed me.
And I mean, I think in between calling Oscar De La Hoya a cokehead, Dana actually said some stuff that made sense.
Absolutely.
He said, Chuck Liddell's a fighter, and you challenge a fighter with a fight, and guess what? They're going to train and they're going to show up. And I mean, he did that. He obviously trained hard.
Oh, absolutely.
He, in one way showed up to fight, and but I think there comes a point, when those shots add up over time. You know what I mean? And there comes a point when you've got to throw in the towel. It's a young man's sport to some extent. 48 is pushing it.
Yeah.
Not
everybody could be Randy Couture. Not everybody could be Randy. That guy's a freak of nature.
yeah, that guy's And I think, well, he was done by 48, wasn't he?
Well, didn't he win the belt at 45 or something like that, Omar?
Yeah, 45, 46, but I think even 48.
Then he exited.
He was done even by then. So that's crazy. You know what I mean? It is crazy.
And you learned from both of those guys on the show. Like, it just blows my friggin' mind.
Yeah. I mean, Chuck's got a lot he can do for the sport. I'd love to see him, obviously coaching and passing on. Obviously he's fucking Chuck Liddell. He can fucking do acting. He can do whatever he wants. He doesn't need to fucking go fight Tito, who hasn't taken a day off in 7 years.
Don't say the acting, Chris.
Stop it, Tommy. He can do whatever he wants. All right, he's Chuck fucking Liddell.
Come on. Liddell. I saw his battery commercial. It was great.
I love that shit. Yeah, with the rhino.
Remember that one? Yeah.
No, he did a military movie.
Was it no good? Was it bad?
Stop it, Tom.
I liked it.
It was like those old tap out movies from back in the day. You remember those?
Oh God. Well, I mean,
I love those.
Randy did it too.
Yeah, he did.
Like Scorpion King 6 or whatever.
But yeah, you're right. I'd like to see Chuck as maybe a commentator.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, he can do whatever. He can do whatever he wants. And I saw his posts on his Instagram and stuff, and I think, obviously he's handling it well. He's disappointed. I mean, apparently nobody got through to him that, hey, maybe this was not the greatest idea.
I think
know,
when I
like,
saw him at the weigh-in, when he was walking from the stairs, I was like, oh, he just didn't move the way that he used to. I mean, I'm sure his knees have to be gone, his back has to be gone. You guys put
well,
your
I mean, I think a big part of it is just, bro, if you have, Tito's been competing.
yeah. Well,
He's
that
been
too.
going
8 years off. Yeah.
fight camp and then a fight. A little bit of rest, then back into training camp, and then we're fighting. A little bit, you know what I mean? And if you're doing that, generally you're getting better. And he's been doing well against tough guys, So, 7 years off, I don't care how old you are or how young you are. That's a long fucking time. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah, especially having to do it with, no testosterone replacement therapy or anything like that. Everybody's trying to do it clean. There's no way to go about it. I'm sure he'll come back. I'm sure he'll come back.
I'm back.
There we go. See, I'm sure he'll come back.
Hey, I don't know why, man. Every time something pops up on my phone, it shuts down. There's got to be a way to turn that off. I don't know.
I don't know. I'm doing this through the computer. I used to do this through the phone when we had these shows, and the same stuff would happen. But yeah, I mean, you're 100% right. And also, these guys are doing this so clean now. No testosterone replacement therapy for the older guys, where it wasn't a problem before. It's got to make the training harder. I mean, when you're done training, you don't bounce back now as fast as you used to, say, 10 years ago, right?
5 years ago. 5 years ago. Yeah, no, I that's one thing, in particular with my training, I've changed my diet, I've changed my lifestyle, mentally and physically, I do feel better, but yeah, the recovery time, it doesn't speed up. It slows down, that's for sure.
That's what Dan was saying, Henderson. That's why he was saying that, he knew that it was the end, when he couldn't use the TRT anymore, and he wasn't feeling good after the training sessions. It took him a lot longer to get up off the couch, he was saying.
Yeah, for sure.
There's another guy that you guys trained with, way back in the day.
Yeah.
And
yeah,
Dan.
I know Dan well. Dan's great.
So you think there's any truth to the rumor of Dan and Tito fighting for Golden Boy? Or you think that was just clickbait garbage?
I don't know. You think they're going to have another Golden Boy show?
I think with, the production of it was good. You know what I mean? It was totally good. The problem was your main event was a main event that people wanted to see 6 years ago. Not now, knowing that, Chuck really hasn't competed. If you have Dan Henderson, who, he stopped competing not that long ago, and Chuck, I think you're going to have more people wanting to see it, and you have a better undercard. Tom Lawler was on there. He's still active. That was good.
Oh, that Tom Lawler fight was nuts. That dude he brought, oh, man.
Jesus.
Yeah.
That dude was throwing heat. Like, he's supposed to be a wrestler.
All 4'8" of them. It was nuts.
Yeah, he's supposed to be a wrestler, but he was winging those hands.
Yeah. So if you have more fights like that underneath, yeah, you're going to get more of an interest. What was it? Gleason Tebow, Tom Lawler were the only other recognizable names that were on the promotion. That's not really.
Yeah, it's it's hard to carry an entire fight on just an entire show on just the main event.
Yeah.
That being said, I do think there's something to. Obviously, maybe I'm wrong because I guess you're saying they didn't do that well in pay-per-views. But I think, Tito Ortiz, Chuck Liddell, those are household names.
Mm-hmm.
And your average fan, that's going to watch this thing in Buffalo Wild Wings, while they're drinking their Coors, they just remember, oh, yeah, Chuck Liddell. A lot of them probably don't know the ins and outs of what's been going on like you or I do.
Mm-hmm.
So I would have thought the pay-per-view would have done better. That being said, it's a whole nother point of conversation whether or not Chuck should have took the fight. That's a whole different thing.
Yeah, it's weird. But like going back on I think they should have another one. Look at all these guys that are getting cut from the UFC and getting released and signing all these other places. I mean, ONE FC looks like they're about to turn around and just overtake the UFC soon enough.
Well, they got Demetrius, man. That was unbelievable.
Now Sage Northcutt just signed over there.
Sage Northcutt, yeah, I just saw that. I just saw that today, actually. Yeah.
That was the worst kept secret ever, considering everybody knew like a week ago that he was going over there.
Shows you how far behind I am. I just found out today.
Yeah, but you're training and everything, man.
He's taking shots, Chris. You see that twice now.
No, Chris has a life. Shots. We don't. Chris has a life. We don't.
That's true. That's more like it.
I mean, that, truthfully, it is. I mean, it gets hard for me to keep up on everything now with the sport. It's just between, refereeing, training, coaching, everything. And then it's like, when do I find a Saturday night to sit at home and watch the UFC? You know what I mean? So it makes it tough sometimes.
So now that you had this fight, are you looking to have another one?
I mean, yeah. I mean, hard to quit now. If I would have had the big rig outcome, I might the talk might be a little different, But
so who would you like to fight if they could set up anybody for you there at WBKFF?
Right now with where I'm at in my career, more important, I want to go out and have good, exciting fights against guys that are gonna throw with me. They're gonna get in there, are gonna throw, and put on a show, put a little bit, get my name out there a little bit. Obviously, make some money for my family. Entertain people. I know that not going to be the UFC champ, and you know what I mean. Like I don't have those aspirations. So it'd have to be somebody that's going to get out there and throw well. But I don't know right off the top of my head. We'll see who they offer, and I mean those are my number one criteria.
Well, would you even want to go back to any kind of MMA at this point, or just keep it with the bare knuckle boxing?
I think, and again, I'm going to bring up the average American fan. When you think about the average American fan and what they want to see, I think the bare knuckle boxing is a freaking recipe for success in this country.
Absolutely.
Even
Absolutely.
Me as a UFC vet, I train jiu-jitsu almost every day of the week. I find myself watching the UFC, and when it hits the mat, going, "Fuck, god damn it!"
Oh no, I mean? Not you too.
Yeah, even me, and some of the best jiu-jitsu guys in the world do the same thing, and they know it. They know they do. So, that being said, I think that bare knuckle super exciting, super exciting. Love that. But I'm not against taking an MMA fight either. I'm training MMA. I'm teaching MMA. That's what I've done my whole life. So either is better. Wherever the more money is my number one priority.
Well, I mean, you already have the name, so the money's definitely going to be there. That's for sure. That's one of the nice things. You don't have to worry about the come up anymore.
Well, I think this one was good. So whatever happens, with this last fight, obviously with the time off, and my track record, we know it hasn't been perfect. I'm sure people are kind of like, is he real? Is everything he's saying true? You know what I mean? Like, let's wait and see. So, being able to have, trained, we made some great YouTube videos that got a ton of hits on my training. Yeah. For this fight, and then the outcome of the fight. I think it shows any promoters out there that were kind of on the fence. At least I hope it does.
Yeah, I think it does. And to go back to what that idiot Paul Tyler was saying, that supposedly Phil Baroni threw the fight. That fight went exactly how it was supposed to go. That's exactly how everybody knew that fight was going to go.
Phil Baroni threw that fight. He's the best. He deserved an Oscar
Yeah,
because like
his acting's not even that good at the Japanese pro wrestling that he does.
No.
All right, you're back.
So
You're back. I just gotta turn it off and turn it back on.
it's all good.
But yeah, what we were saying was if that was him throwing the fight, then that's the best acting that he's ever done. Because I would say he's not even that good at acting for the Japanese pro wrestling that he does.
It was pretty good. I mean, the one thing I'll say is, when you train your ass off, you prepare for the worst. You go out there, and then the fight happens, and really you don't have any control over the way the fight happens. I mean, there's part of me that goes, God, I wish it would have been a little bit different, so I could have showcased some more of my skills that I learned. But ultimately, man, that shit's out of my power. I go out there, I'm trying to knock you out, and I think a lot of people kind of, I hear a lot of shit, and it drives me nuts. A lot of people say things about Baroni that I feel like downplays. It makes it seem like it was less of a win for me, which is frustrating because I know that Baroni was training hard for that fight. I know that, when they thought it was a slip, that wasn't a slip. I caught him with that punch. I caught him with the punch on the first time he clinched, and he was already rocked, right off the bat. So of course he was going to be stumbling around a little bit, and then after the second time, after I dropped him, he was basically drunk on his feet before the shot that finished it landed. When you're halfway knocked out, you're gonna try to clinch somebody up. You know what I mean? Like, so I don't know. I didn't think it was that crazy, but it is a little bit frustrating to me. People say this or that about the fight, and it's like, look, man, I trained for the best fucking Phil Baroni out there. I can't change the outcome of the fight. Fuck, I go out there and fight my heart out, and you know what? If I fucking win in a minute 20, like, pat me on the back. You know what I mean? Don't say shit about Phil Baroni, which frustrates me. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, no, you got to totally.
I think I just vented right there. I don't think that even had to do with your question.
No, it's perfect.
But that's what I deal with a little bit of that, and it's a lot of it's my friends that don't train, they don't know the sport, So, they text me things like, what was Phil Baroni doing? Like, bro, the guy's got a lot of fights. You know what I mean? Like,
he was trying to kill you. That's what he was doing.
like,
and you were trying to kill him.
Yeah, I mean, anyways.
Yeah, no, this show's not structured, man. Vent.
Yeah.
Vent. I love it.
Yeah.
That's what we're here for.
I mean, so if you look at it, I don't know if you guys remember the fight, but I feel like it made sense to me. If I was Baroni, he probably watched tape of me from 10 years ago and thought Chris Leben's going to come out and he's going to go straight forward, So I'm going to dip my head offline, wing a big overhand, try to clinch him up. And then if I drop low enough, because he's an MMA guy, he'll try to dig for underhooks or something, and I'll break off and catch him with a shot, like DC Stipe, when he breaks out, I mean, I don't know, maybe I'm giving him too much credit, but I think that's kind of watching it. That would have been a good game plan for me, honestly. It just didn't work out in his favor.
Yeah, no, it sure didn't. It did not work out in his favor.
Or if you hadn't been training and evolving from 10 years ago. Like, I think what you said was spot on. He thought you were that Chris Leben.
Right.
And he's like, he hasn't been training. It's not like he runs his gym and he teaches guys all the time and he's in there all the time, which was not the case. You've been evolving. You have the name. Yeah, I mean, but you could see it. There's things that you're feinting, you're moving, you're sizing them up. It was, man, that was exciting.
I worked a lot. I've trained with a lot of professional boxers. Worked a lot on my movement, mostly more than anything. My movement and So part of me wishes, I wish I could have showed a little bit more. But there's always next time.
So now that's what I wanted to ask you. With the training for the bare knuckle boxing, it's obviously 100 times different than training for a boxing fight, and totally different. than training for MMA. So what's the difference in the striking training, how you condition your knuckles and things like that?
Well, my knuckle is, I mean, it's still fucked. So, so I still can't punch with my left hand as of right now. So ultimately, I don't think there's much. I think if you hit really, really freaking hard, I will say that about myself. I'm one of the harder hitters out there. Your knuckles aren't meant to take that kind of damage. I don't care what you do. I don't care what you do to your hands. If you catch a guy clean, full power, 200 pounds on the top of their skull, your knuckles probably going to explode. It's just what's going to happen. So like, what did I do? People are out punching sand and doing all this karate shit. My thing was, hey, I'm going to make sure my hands are healthy going into the fight. And if I break them in the fight, well, fuck it, I got insurance. And at least I get paid. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
So I mean, that's what I did. The one thing we did was, for training, obviously for accuracy, and it does make a difference. Boxing gloves, MMA gloves make a big difference on your range, and MMA gloves to no gloves make a difference on your range. So I would just wrap my hands and then put a little bit of duct tape over the top of that and hit mitts that way. So I got a lot of rounds in like that, and I was able to strike hard on the mitts with no problems.
Wow. Yeah, I always wonder what the difference is. I mean, what is the feeling like? I mean, everybody's punched somebody in the face, but you never really always get that full blast with your bare
Pretty
hands.
gross.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll be honest, come back just leaking, holding their face, blood running down their arm. And then, I heard the shot from backstage that hit Johnny Henry. That was a
Yeah. Poor Johnny. Poor Big Rig.
He'll be back.
Yeah, he'll be back.
I have faith.
Absolutely.
These stories are amazing.
Yeah, man. I mean, I'm glad we finally got somebody, from the bare knuckle boxing on there, because I always wondered what difference the training needed to be. Like, you heard some of these guys, like he was saying, were hitting sand and conditioning their knuckles and things like that. But is there really a way to condition your knuckles to where nothing is going to happen? It's impossible.
No. Even Boss Rutan was saying, like, people got to take some mustard off of their shots to the head because it's bare knuckle. Like, it's just physically impossible.
I don't know too many regular people like us who have been able to just go full bore and hit somebody in the face. It's always something that's kind of half cocked, and you never get the chance because it's usually broken up by then. So that's what. Man,
I mean, I think the both of us have hit somebody in the face. So I don't know. I don't know where that line of questioning is going to. It's
not full bore like that, dude.
That's true. I mean, I don't know if I can. At this point, I'm an old man with
not full bore like that. Like oh my God. I know you saw the fight. It was unbelievable.
Dude was killing people.
It was unbelievable.
It was amazing is what it was.
Yeah, Rudy, like, just like Chris was saying about the guys getting stitched up, that guy Jay, who was a contender on the undefeated series of the UFC Ultimate Fighter, his face looked like a fucking topographical map of Utah.
That's very up and down for all you non-geographically inclined motherfuckers out there. All right, I got exactly what you were saying, my man.
It was brutal,
dude. But it was cool to hear was Chris saying that they had the two surgeons in the back like that for a small organization, starting out. Plastic surgeons. So like the guys that you want stitching your face. You and I both know that there's a huge difference. Like a surgeon, okay, stitch my leg up. I don't give a fuck. It'll look how it looks. I wear shorts, usually unless it's party time. But you don't want anybody touching your face. It's not a plastic surgeon. You know what I mean? Like it's a horse of a different color, and it's a different skill level. They had those two guys. That wasn't cheap.
No,
the organization is down to invest that way in fighter safety after the fact. That's a level of professionalism that I think, you know, I wanted to be sure to bring up because you know that this organization is going to catch shit.
You guys hate.
Nah, what are you talking?
No,
You
man,
guys
we just
hate
keep
me.
it
I
rolling.
know.
Bro.
I'm sorry.
Stop it.
No, we just keep it rolling. Honestly, we're getting close to getting ready to wrap it up, so I'm glad you came back on.
Yeah.
Well, yeah,
Yeah,
man.
man.
Sorry about that.
No, that's fine.
Cool.
That's fine, man. So you got the family life now. You know, you're kicking back. You're living in paradise out there on the West Coast while we're freezing our nuts off here on the East Coast.
Yep.
So what
Yep.
else? What else you got going on? Are you still doing the real estate or no?
No. You know, unfortunately, you know, they couldn't get over some of my brushes with the law. So
Oh Lord.
things
Gotcha.
didn't work. Yeah, things didn't work
Yeah.
out with that. But it's no matter. I don't. The one thing I during the time I did real estate, I realized I hate real estate agents. Like they're like, as promoters are to MMA, real estate agents are to fucking everybody
else.
Yeah.
Fucking be shady, talk fast. You know what I mean? Like,
Oh,
there's totally not a field I'm interested in whatsoever. You know what I mean? Like, I thought it would be nice because I like to walk into a house and go, "Oh, this house looks nice." You know, I like architecture. You know, I work construction, but I just don't like working with other real estate agents. I found out. You know, and apparently you got to do that. You know, so you know, I'm coaching at the arena. You know, coaching full time, doing privates there. I'm refereeing. You know, so like I refed on the Chuck Tito card. So you know, just real busy. Pretty much every weekend I'm refereeing somewhere. You know, and then you know, I'm training, obviously, I had my fight training for that. And then when I'm not training for that, I'm rolling jujitsu. So was that fight to win last night? That was cool. We had that in San Diego.
Oh, they did have that out there. Wow.
Yeah. So there was some, I mean, I've never seen grappling the way that they do it. They do it like a fucking fight show. You know what I mean? It looks like, it looks like a Japanese like fight card, like
Dream or something. Yeah.
Yeah, Dream or One FC with the lights, and it was pretty cool.
Yeah,
So,
my academy that I go to does the fight to win pros when they're in Jersey all the time. They just actually had one in Atlantic City. Yeah, that's another big thing that we talk about now. These jiu-jitsu shows now are starting to become just as popular as the fights. You know, you got them on Fight Pass. Now you're getting them on Flow Grappling and that. So, would you think about something like that?
Absolutely. You know, the show last night, Jesse Taylor was on there. Liz Carmouche was on there. You know, and a couple other guys were on there. You know, my coach Barrett Yoshida, you know, he competed.
Love
and
it.
I think he was on the New Jersey. I think he won the 145 or 135 title in New Jersey just a couple weeks ago, like 6 weeks ago maybe. So yeah, he fought again. It was pretty cool, man. It was cool to watch jiu-jitsu at the highest level get the respect that I feel like it deserves. You know, sometimes you go, you watch these videos of the best jiu-jitsu guy in the world and they're fucking competing in a gymnasium in front of 17 people. And you're like, you know, it's just, they get the short end of the stick for sure when it comes to competing.
And they can't pay the bills. And it's just, it's horrible to see, you know.
Well, it's like what Gordon Ryan was saying on his Instagram. You know, he travels from, Gordon Ryan lives down here by me in southern New Jersey. He travels to Manhattan every day. He's like, it's $1,000 a month just in tolls. That's not counting the gas and all that other shit. So yeah, I want to be paid, and I want to be paid big. You know, and it's nice to see that jiu-jitsu's finally getting that way. You know,
it's slowly but surely it's getting there. Slowly but surely it's getting there. You know, but again, it goes back to that average American fan. You know, I was trying to explain to my old lady, I was like, it's like if to watch an NBA game and understand what was going on, you had to at least play college ball. You know,
Mhm.
that's what
Mhm.
watching the highest level of jiu-jitsu is like. You know, they're just not going to get it. You know, that you can't watch two people that good and realize the 54 different battles that are going on, you
Yep.
know, in the one position. You know, and I mean, unless you train, you know, it's hard. It can be confusing for people. Like I see it all the time at shows, you know, because they're like, wait, who's winning? Wait, what happened? You
Yeah.
know, you got these people going, what happened? How did it win? You know, so
Or you'll go, oh shit, and they'll be like, what do you mean?
yeah, I'm
Right?
going,
They're like, no, you
I'm
didn't
going,
see that.
oh.
Yeah.
I'm going,
Yeah.
what?
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
I get angry at those people, like the guys at the bar. Oh, I could get out of that, and I just get up and I walk away. Like I
The
gotta
worst.
Get
That's the worst. I try not. That's why I try not to ever watch fights in public places because I always get the dude that wants to show me how much he knows about fucking fighting, you know. And next thing you know, I got this guy going, you know, Chris, if I was Dan Henderson, well, how about you're not fucking Dan Henderson? Like, Dan Henderson, he just keeps trying to throw that right hand because it fucking works. Like you've been hit by that,
Yeah.
you know, like
Yeah.
Ask
You don't
Michael
go to a
Disney.
doctor. You don't go to a doctor and go, you know what? I'd be a better surgeon, bro.
yeah.
Like,
yeah.
you know.
That's
I think
for
I could
sure.
take
I don't
that
tell the
appendix out
barista how
faster
to
than
make my
you can.
fucking coffee. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
fuck.
You got to shorten up. You got to shorten up on the handle there, and you know, you're holding it for
A little
too long.
heavy on, yeah. Choke up on the handle.
Oh my God! Well, listen, Chris. I know this is your only day off, and I just wanted to thank you so much for coming
Thank
on
you.
here, giving us the time. We'd love to do this with you again when you're getting ready for your next fight. So,
And I
it's
have
an
a
open
real
invitation.
computer.
Yeah. Hey, man, it all worked out fine. It
You're
all worked
awesome.
out
You know
fine.
what? Actually, this was a great show. It was really entertaining. They're not all like this, so it was a pleasure. Thanks for having me on, guys.
Thank you.
Yeah, and sorry about the technical difficulties.
Oh, it's no problem
It's
at
all
all, man. Thank you for everything. Good luck with everything, and we will talk to you soon. Go enjoy your
Cool.
family, man.
All right, see you guys. Bye.
Take care.
Bye. Oh, that was so damn exciting, bro. I've been like looking forward to talking to Chris Leben since like 2005, and I'm not even.
I was starstruck. I said it in chat. I wasn't even joking. Oh my God, it's Chris Leben.
Right?
Pretty cool.
I was like super. I wasn't talking much at first, if you noticed,
Well, you
because
know
I was
what?
like,
It's one thing when we're talking to them on the phone, right? Because
yeah,
you're not seeing anybody.
no,
Now it's live and up front, and
yeah.
it's a complete different world. But I'm happy to see that he's doing good, and I hope he gets another fight soon because he could still go.
And he looks like he's in a good place. Like
Yes.
it's like just with his life, and it seems like, you know, he's kind of settled into a cool groove.
Yeah,
It's
he's got
awesome to see.
beautiful wife. He's got beautiful.
Yeah.
kids. It's a good
And-
life for him, man. It's you know what he deserves.
Exactly. Absolutely, because he was like you said, he toiled in the salt mines when the sport was on the rain slick precipice of darkness, man. It could have gone either way.
Well, think of
really
it this
for-
way: when those guys were on that show, Dana wasn't planning to pay them shit, no bonuses, nothing. When those guys flipped out and said, we're not fighting for free anymore, that's the whole point of us coming on this show. That's when they decided to put the bonuses in place for the knockout and the submission.
It's wild, isn't it? You know, that was it's such a short time ago that was where the sport was, and now what? You know, through efforts, of Chris and fighters in his generation and that ilk, now they're on ESPN next in a month.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's fucking wild. And we were talking to him. I'm still a little like, oh,
Yeah. I can't wait to watch this back tomorrow,
Me
man.
too, dude. I'm so
I can't wait.
Yeah.
Rudy, thank you for taking the time out on your Sunday to do this with us. Omar,
My pleasure.
I know you can't be on the show tomorrow because I know you have work stuff to do, but Rudy and I are going to do the show to talk about the events this
Beautiful.
weekend.
Awesome.
Yeah, so we're going to keep that rolling. It feels too good to just do one show a week. I'm sorry.
That's true.
Damn good.
It's awesome.
So we hope we're making everybody over there at Fight Book happy. We want to thank everybody for taking your time out on a Sunday for joining us here today. Guys, this was a great show. I can't wait to do it again. Rudy, you and I get to do this tomorrow night. So thank you to all our sponsors out there, 80K Fightwear, Black Hole Jiu-Jitsu, Madama Jiu-Jitsu, Fight Book MMA. And thank you to Chris Leben for joining us. We are Pride Rules Podcast. Omar, Rudy, we will see you guys tomorrow night.